The laughter cut through the hall like broken glass, sharp and humiliating, echoing under the blinding stage lights where millionaires gathered to celebrate success. In that moment, a single exhausted mechanic stood frozen, grease still stained into his hands, while a powerful CEO mocked him in front of everyone and made a promise that sounded impossible, almost cruel. "Fix this luxury car in 10 minutes, she said, and I'll marry you." No one believed he could. Not the crowd. Not the cameras. Not even him. If you believe that kindness, second chances, and silent strength still matter in this world, take a second right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps stories like this alive. The mechanic's name was Daniel. He was 38, a single father, and the kind of man people rarely noticed unless something went wrong. His life had become a careful routine of early mornings, late nights, and quiet sacrifices. Every day before sunrise, he packed his daughter Emma's lunch, tied her shoelaces, and promised he'd be back before she fell asleep. Some nights he broke that promise, not because he didn't care, but because the world didn't make room for men like him to slow down. His wife had passed away years earlier, leaving him with grief he never had time to process and a child who depended on him for everything. Daniel worked at a small repair shop on the edge of the city, the kind that survived on loyalty rather than luxury. He fixed engines by feel, listening to vibrations like a doctor listens to a heartbeat. He never went to college, never wore a suit, and never imagined he would step foot into a billionaire's gala. That night, he was only there because the event planners were desperate. The CEO's rare prototype car, the symbol of the entire evening, had broken down moments before its grand reveal. Engineers panicked, technicians failed, and millions of dollars sat useless under silk covers. Someone mentioned a local mechanic who had once fixed an imported engine no one else could. That's how Daniel ended up there, borrowed coveralls, borrowed confidence, and no place to hide. When the CEO laughed, it wasn't loud at first. It was disbelief dressed as amusement. To her, he was just another man who didn't belong, standing in the wrong room, surrounded by people who measured worth in stock prices and status. Cameras zoomed in, catching his worn boots and tired eyes. 10 minutes, she repeated, smiling as if offering a joke to entertain the crowd. The hall buzzed with whispers, bets, and quiet cruelty. Daniel felt the weight of every stare, the memory of overdue bills, and the image of his daughter asleep with the lights still on because she waited for him. He didn't argue. He didn't beg. He simply nodded and walked toward the car. Inside, his hands shook for just a second. 10 minutes wasn't just a challenge, it was a trap. But Daniel had lived his whole life fixing things under pressure. He remembered working overnight shifts while Emma was sick, repairing engines with borrowed tools, learning through failure because no one taught him any other way. He blocked out the noise, the laughter, the lights. To him, the car was no longer a symbol of wealth. It was just a machine that needed understanding. Time moved strangely as he worked. 1 minute passed, then another. The crowd grew restless. Some people turned away, already convinced. The CEO checked her watch, confident and amused. But something shifted when the engine coughed. Just once. Then again. Daniel's hands moved faster, surer. He found a hidden fault, a design flaw overlooked by the best engineers because they trusted computers more than instinct. Sweat ran down his back. His fingers bled slightly. He didn't notice. All he saw was the problem and the solution. At 9 minutes, the engine roared to life. Not a sputter. Not a guess. A clean, powerful sound that filled the hall and silenced every voice. For a moment, no one moved. Then disbelief turned into shock. Applause erupted, unsure at first, then overwhelming. The CEO stood frozen, her smile gone, replaced by something unfamiliar. Respect. Daniel stepped back, exhausted, heart pounding. He didn't look at her. He looked at the floor, already bracing for the punchline, the excuse, the way powerful people always found a way out. The promise had never been real to him. He wasn't there for marriage, fame, or revenge. He was there because fixing broken things was all he knew how to do. But the room had changed. The laughter was gone. The cameras captured something raw, something human. The CEO approached him slowly, not as a joke now, but as a woman who had just witnessed quiet brilliance. She didn't propose. She didn't turn it into a fairy tale. Instead, she did something far more meaningful. She apologized publicly. She offered him a job, resources, and respect, not because of a bet, but because she saw his worth too late and chose to acknowledge it anyway. Daniel went home that night to his daughter. He tucked her in, kissed her forehead, and for the first time in years, felt the weight on his chest lift just a little. His life didn't become perfect overnight. But it changed. Doors opened. His skills were finally valued. And Emma grew up watching her father prove that dignity doesn't shout, it survives. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of your own quiet struggles or someone you love who keeps going without applause, please like this video, share it, and subscribe. Your engagement tells us these stories matter. Before the ending, we have one special request. Please comment below where you're watching from and write one word that describes how this story made you feel. Because sometimes, the impossible isn't about fixing a car in 10 minutes. It's about enduring years of being unseen, and still showing up with everything you have.